All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want you to imagine something with me for a second. Let's say someone tells you that you have exactly 1 year, 365 days to completely change your life. After that, well, everything gets harder, it gets way more expensive, and a whole lot more crowded. What would you do? So we're going to dive into this incredibly powerful framework drawn from the legendary insights of Jack Ma. It's basically a blueprint that translates those massive, lofty dreams into a concrete day-by-day reality.
Now, if you knew you had exactly 1 year to change your life before things got really tough, how would you actually respond? You know, most people, when you ask them this, they immediately start listing off these massive milestones. They're like, I want to travel the world, or I'm going to write a best-selling book, or start a huge business. But then, if you stop them and ask, okay, but what are you going to do tomorrow morning? Crickets. There's usually just silence. See, the real question isn't what your ultimate goal is, it's how exactly you're going to start tomorrow.
And to answer that, we're going to break down this exact roadmap. We'll start with part 1, the 365-day challenge, and then move into months 1 through 3, which is the foundation. Next up is months 4 through 6, the build phase, followed by months 7 through 9, momentum. Then we'll wrap up the year with months 10 through 12, the finish line, and finally, uncover the one quiet decision.
So starting with part 1, the 365-day challenge, and the underlying problem that trips almost everyone up right out of the gate.
Basically, there is a massive gap between our big dreams, the exciting, glamorous outcomes like writing a book or starting a company, and our daily plan. Most of us have these immense, beautiful visions in our heads, but absolutely zero mechanics to actually get there. Well, today, we are fixing that daily plan. We are taking that month by month, week by week, day by day reality and turning it into a truly actionable framework.
Let's map out this journey across an entire year. Think of this timeline as your blueprint for the next 12 months. We've broken it down into 4 distinct quarters, mapping out not just the practical steps you'll take, but also the emotional phases you're inevitably going to go through.
Moving right into section 2, months 1 to 3, building the foundation.
Now here's the absolute truth about foundations. Nobody sees them, nobody claps for them, and you definitely don't see viral videos being made about them. But without them, the whole thing just falls apart. During these first 3 months, you have got to strictly ignore the noise. The absolute key here is that you must only focus on 3 foundational steps. Don't go wildly changing directions every 30 days, which is honestly what most people do. Because if you skip this foundational phase, I guarantee you, a year from now, you'll be sitting exactly where you started.
So, step 1, finding your one thing. This requires some deep, honest reflection. What is the one problem in the world that bothers you so much you'd literally work on fixing it for free? Seriously, you have to ignore what's trending right now, ignore what makes easy money or what your family thinks sounds prestigious. You need to look directly at your frustration. When Jack Ma started Alibaba, he wasn't sitting there thinking about making billions of dollars. He was driven by this deep, agonizing frustration that small Chinese businesses just couldn't sell their products. That struggle became his compass. And that exact type of frustration, that needs to be your compass too.
Step 2 is fixing your daily system. And the secret sauce here is just the sheer simplicity of the routine you have to follow. You have to do this every single day, with absolutely zero excuses. It starts with just 1 minute in the morning to ask yourself, what must I finish today? Then 1 hour of deep work with absolutely no phone, which, let's be real, is vastly harder than it sounds. Then 30 minutes of reading. And finally, a quick 2-minute evening reflection right before you go to sleep. You do this on your best days, and you do it on your absolute worst days. Add to this step 3, finding just one person who's 2 or 3 years ahead of you to learn from. This helps your brain stop saying it's impossible and start asking, how? Do that and your foundation is totally locked in.
All right, section 3, months 4 to 6, the build phase, which is, quite frankly, the hardest part.
I'm going to be brutally honest with you here. This is the hardest part of the entire year. 90% of people quit right here. Why? Because during these 3 months, that initial burst of excitement from the foundation phase, it entirely vanishes. Your results are still tiny, the people around you aren't impressed, in fact, they might even be laughing at what you're doing. This exact moment, the messy middle of the year, is where the vast majority of people simply throw in the towel. But this is exactly where you have to force yourself to stay in the game.
So how do you survive that massive dip? Well, you have to completely shift your perspective on how you're measuring your progress. The absolute wrong way to do it is looking all the way up at the massive summit of your final goal. You're just going to feel deeply discouraged doing that. The right way? You must only measure your current skills, your network, and your consistency against who you were 90 days ago. Think about it.
90 days ago, did you have this routine? Nope. Did you know this mentor? No. Small progress every single day for 90 days, that's not small anymore.
A massive trap people fall into here is panicking. When results are slow, the instinct is to add new projects, try to learn entirely new skills, or just change directions completely, essentially going wider. But when results are slow, you actually need to go deeper, not wider. Stay relentlessly focused on your one thing. Remember Jack Ma's early days? He didn't just abandon his focus on helping small businesses just because internet adoption was painfully slow. No, he went deeper into solving that exact problem. And crucially, you need to bravely show your imperfect work to the world. Write the post, make the video, share the idea. Showing your work transforms you from someone who's just thinking about it into someone who is actually doing it.
Which brings us to section 4, months 7 to 9, momentum, an unexplainable shift.
This is where the magic finally happens. If you put your head down and did the dark, unnoticed work in those first 6 months, people finally start to notice. Opportunities actually begin to appear, and people start opening doors for you, all because you finally have 6 months of undeniable proof. And this proof? It permanently shifts your self-belief. You know it's real now. The pacing completely shifts. In this phase, unlike the first 6 months where you stayed strictly in your lane, you start saying yes to a bit more. You help one person. You accelerate. You essentially let your momentum become truly unstoppable.
Section 5, months 10 to 12, the finish line, the final stretch.
Now, there is a major warning you really need to heed right now. Your brain is going to look around, it's going to see the momentum, see those visible results, and it's going to tell you to celebrate early. It'll say, hey, relax, we made it. You absolutely must not relax. The gap between those who truly finish and those who just almost finish opens super wide right here. You actually have to push harder, wake up earlier, and fiercely protect your focus. Use that unique, intense energy that the finish line generates to cross it completely. Do not waste that precious energy on an early celebration.
Finally, section 6, the one quiet decision.
Let's uncover the ultimate reason why most people waste their year, even when they have the perfect 365-day blueprint laid out right in front of them. The harsh reality is this: hoping things will be different is not the same as deciding things will be different. Wishing is not deciding. Waiting around for the perfect moment? That's not deciding either. Deciding is an active, honest assessment of your current reality and making a firm, unbreakable commitment to act.
Jack Ma made his defining decision in a cramped little apartment in Hangzhou. He had no money, absolutely no connections, and honestly, no perfectly clear plan. But he decided. The conditions are never going to be perfect. The true transformation begins the exact moment you firmly commit to starting with exactly who you are and exactly what you have right now.
Deciding means sitting down quietly today, looking at your life with complete honesty, and saying, this year. Starting today. Not next year, not after some big problem is solved, and not after you finally feel like you have more confidence. Today. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct, personal challenge. Sit down quietly today and make that one honest choice.
Will this be the year you truly decide, or is it just going to be another year you wish and wait? Your 1 year starts the very second you make that choice. Because one person with a clear plan can change their family. And one family with direction, well, they can